Welcome to the Tone Jerks podcast. I'm your host, Brian Gower. With me today, we got
Aaron Recine. How's it going?
All right. So we're on location here, Folsom Lake Folsom.
Yeah.
But we're also in your studio van.
Yeah, coming live to you from a 2000 Dodge Ram 1500 van, guaranteed to break down every time, all the time.
Yeah. 60% of the time.
It breaks down all the time.
Awesome, yeah. So, earlier we shot like a studio tour video. So, you've been on the show before, but
yeah,
maybe if people are new or whatever. So, you like have a studio like live-in van that you built.
Exactly.
And so you're recording, you're living in it, you're doing your life.
Yeah. So basically, I built this van over 6 months, and crazy timing. 2 days before California was shut down for the pandemic, I finished the van. So the timing couldn't have been better. And I didn't build it with the intention of having recording equipment in it, but I ended up getting inspiration from a friend. And I was like, man, I actually really like recording. And it was just the thing that had kept me from it was it's so cumbersome to record in an apartment or with neighbors because nobody likes being next to a drummer. Like, nobody enjoys hearing loud-ass drums all the time, so I wanted to figure out a way that I could just, like, drive out somewhere where I'm not going to bother anybody. And I figured out it's so much fun that I'm actually building a second van now just so that I can do this.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah, standing's nice.
Yeah.
And having a shower and a bathroom.
Those are overrated, man.
Yeah,
Overrated.
Running water, that's for quitters. You can drink water when you're dead.
Yeah, that's... Water everywhere. Anyway, but yeah, so we're here. This has been fun. So we're just like got done shooting the video, and I'm like, it's a cool spot. I think I've seen pictures of it. We posted it on the Facebook group and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's awesome being in. It's everything, just one spot. It's cool.
Yeah, and it's. I don't know if anybody is, or if you have seen the documentary Minimalism.
No, So definitely want to check it out. It's been one that like I think I've seen videos about, like talking about it, and it's similar van living situation.
Yeah, and I watched that documentary, and basically, long story short, it's about living with as little as possible, just your necessities, and only having kind of in a Marie Kondo way what brings you joy.
Yeah.
And before I moved in here, I had like a massive toolbox. I had like 7 motorcycles. I had all this stuff, and like. It didn't bring me happiness. I was stressed out. And over the 6 months of building this, I got rid of like everything. And it was a lot of work to get rid of it. And now I have 10 shirts, 4 pairs of pants, 20 pairs of socks, pairs of underwear.
Yeah.
And then my tools, my guitar bass, recording setup. And that's literally, this is all my possessions in the entire world. And it brings such a peace knowing like when I look around, I'm like, there's everything. Like my whole life is here, and it's
and having that liability of like, oh, all my stuff, and like say if like I mean I have so much stuff. I'm selling stuff, not in the whole as pared down as you are, but that is inspirational because it's like, do you really need all this stuff?
Yeah,
of like all these amps and guitars. I'm like, I like it. Don't get me wrong, but it's like. I even think of like amps that I'm trying to sell. Like I'm not even playing guitar in a band right now. So I'm like,
same
do
here.
I fucking need like 7 amps?
Yeah, and I have a little tiny 80s Fender Champ 12 that I have stored at the coffee shop, and like honestly, we're not playing to stadiums, and even if you are, they're gonna mic you up. So you don't really need much anymore. And I mean, it's just in the last 10 years, the progress they've made in amp sims and software is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds good enough to use. And there's plenty of records these days that are released and everything's been DI. And a lot of people would never be able to tell.
Yeah. And then, with even on a little higher end stuff, it's like Kempers and Felix and all this shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I get it. But, I mean, still, the amps are fun.
Oh, man. Like
guitars are fun.
I was so deep into it when I was in a band in like 2008 to 14-ish, that area. I hand-wired a JCM 2000 or a JCM 800 2204 clone by hand and point by point wired it and everything. And like I was deep into tubes. I had like 10 books on theory of gain staging for tubes and like old 50s books from like General Electric and all that. And yeah, tubes are like, it's so simple, but it sounds so freaking good.
You're definitely a different guy than me. To me, like tube amps, like getting in there scares the shit out of me. I'm yep. I'll pay somebody to do that.
That's a great attitude because like when I was working on them, I was terrified. And like you have to respect electricity because it does not respect you. Like if you mess with it, it's gonna bite back. And when you're dealing with the power tubes, some of them are running 4 amps at 600 volts. I mean, that's freaking and like you're done. It's dangerous stuff. I would hold my belt and I would use a chopstick to move certain wires to make sure they were connected. And like, you really got to be careful. If you don't know what you're doing, don't get in there.
You could fuck yourself up pretty bad.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, like, you don't want to frickin' turn yourself into stir fry over 2 seconds just because you're like, yeah, I can figure it out. I'm not going to learn about it, but I'll mess with it.
Yeah, I'll learn as I go. That's one thing you got to have, like a healthy respect for that.
Yeah, you can learn as you go. If you're riding a bike, maybe you skin your knee, but when you're playing with electricity, you really have to understand what you're doing.
But yeah, we're going on a tangent here. So, yeah.
we definitely always do.
Okay, so, Aaron, what's new in your world? What's shaking? What's good?
So right now, I'm building a 1973 Grumman Olson, which is basically... Chevy would have these models called P30s, and then Grumman Olson, who makes all the USPS trucks you've seen, would put aluminum boxes on them so that they'd be used for package cars and all that. And any vehicle, this is a lot of people know this. I don't know if a lot of people know this. Any vehicle in California made in 1975 or older is exempt from smog. So that means you can put any engine you want in it. And with this old Dodge that I have, there's a lot of components that you can't buy anymore. And the longevity of these vehicles is starting to go away. Like, you're not going to be able to repair these anymore because the parts literally don't exist. But in something that's smog exempt, I can throw any motor I want into it, which is the long-term goal. When the old 73 engine that's 600 pounds and makes 100 horsepower takes a dump, I can just throw like a LS1 motor in it or whatever I want to put in it. So I can keep this van for as long as possible because I'm going to do soundproofing. I'm going to build it out so I can record inside it. And if I'm going to put all that effort into it, I don't want it to be something that has a shelf life. I want to be able to maintain it for a really long time.
Yeah. So you're in that process and you're documenting it on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly.
So you started also getting into doing videos.
And you know, I had done a lot of video editing when I was younger. Like in 8th grade, we did like video editing projects for my drama class, and I've kind of fell out of it over a while. And I've played guitar for a really long time, and it's one of those things where I know so much about it that I don't really have the desire to push myself too hard on it anymore compared to drums where I don't know anything. And then video editing and making YouTube videos, I have no idea what I'm doing whatsoever. And that makes it so much fun because I'm passionate like a 16-year-old who's getting in their band for the first time.
Yeah, you were saying that. That makes sense because it's like everything, even if you like learn something so new and basic, it's fresh.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I learned about frames per second. I'm like, and I was working on the video today. I'm like, oh, changing your f-stop kind of as you go. I'm like, oh, that really does with like video and even for editing too.
Yeah.
You're learning more shit about it.
And you know, it's kind of like ignorance is bliss. I have so little understanding of like, what does it take to put out good content? What does it take to get people to view? How do you monetize? Like the first big goal that I accomplished was getting my own custom URL. You have to have 100 subscribers. And like, even though that's not like a huge amount of people or anything, like starting off in the beginning, like that was so much fun to like, how do I find what people like? And now I even look at my first video and I go, that's garbage. I really don't like how I edited it. It's too slow and all this. And as I keep going, I get to sharpen it. And it's like building a craft as a passionate, fun thing. And it's so fun because like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, just like the little victories that you do. Like you almost, you spent the time to learn it. That was it. And now that you did learn it, like, oh, I chalk that on the W side.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, fuck yeah, dude.
And also like,
dude, you should have been doing that in the first place. Like, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, fuck.
Yeah. And I think you and I can relate to this. We've all been in bands where like you start getting burnt out on it and you just don't have the passion to put into it anymore because there's not really the mystery of what could happen. Like when we were 16, we're like, we're going to be rock stars.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going to make it. And like right now, I feel like I have that same stupid ignorance with being an influencer. I'm like, man, I'm going to make something of this. And there's so much just raw passion behind it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it's like, if
that.
it works out, great. If it doesn't, great. The experience was awesome. And I mean, like, what else are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. It's like maybe, being in a band or being like, in your 30s, you understand what music you're capable of doing in a band. You know that it's like, we're not going to get signed to a big rock thing. And even getting signed nowadays isn't even the goal.
Yeah, and
it shouldn't be, at least.
And you kind of like, you really learn about dishonest people quite quickly in the music industry.
Is it? It's
just
like
promise after promise. Yeah, we'll pay you when you show up at this gig, and you get like a torn in half beer ticket, and that's the best you're getting.
Yeah, or it's like getting paid even if there's like a contract signed. It's like, why is this like pulling teeth?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's only couple $100. And then they're like, oh, really? Oh, damn. Oh, shit. Can I just, pay you later? I'm like, no.
No, pay you later means pay you never.
Pay you never, exactly. And it's like, you learn about horse feeders. I think I heard that term. It's like,
no,
people who just like, it's just like, here's bullshit for you. And you're like, oh, I'm just gonna, that sounds good. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a huge event. We're gonna get, it could be really great exposure. I'm like, he's right. He's right. There's gonna be people there. So you might get fucking signed.
Gosh, and it just hooks you. Yeah,
like, I'll keep following your bullshit.
Oh man, you're gonna be so famous, and you're just like, man, it feels so good.
Yeah, you just fed bullshit, and then like you hear that, now I just kind of spot it more and more. So like I'm a little bit more jaded, maybe, as far as like music goes.
Well, I mean, being in a band and age will do that to you.
It's still fun, still fucking fun to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then doing podcast or photography or film, it's just like learning how to do video and stuff like that. It's fun because it's like rewarding. Because I'm like, just learning how to do like editing in a video. I'm like, I learned how to do it the easy way because I was doing it the hard way at first. That's rewarding.
Yeah.
I was saying I used to just kind of edit the audio wave with the video, and I would pull everything together. And I'm like, by hand, if it got off, I'd cut it and do it. And I'm like, fucking stupid. There's a button that you push to do that. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, and then once you have those aha moments of, oh my gosh, it's so rewarding.
Mm-hmm. It'd be like, like when you're a kid and you're like, oh, the way I'm gonna get this great distortion sound with the DS1 into my, a Line 6 metal.
Man, my first recording experience was using a phonic board plugged into a Toshiba satellite running Windows 98 SE into Audacity. Like, there was more buzz and distortion than like, a freaking experimental fuzz band. Like,
yeah, I think just figuring that all that out, and it's like, miking like a Line 6 Spider. I'm like, why did we even mic that?
Yeah.
The guy who we paid for the recording should have just said, no, use this instead.
Yeah.
Or it's like he had I think he had a pod, and he's like, you should have just used that. That would have been better than miking an amp.
And that's half the fun, is once you realize that and you start getting that experience, you go, okay, we don't do that again. And you have to have that firsthand experience. I mean, if you're not making mistakes and looking back on a year ago and going, oh, that was wrong, like, you're not growing. And that should be like a red flag.
Yeah, if you're like complacent, because it also might be a thing too. It's like you're not even like looking to learn either. Because a lot of people can have that part where they're just like, well, I don't need to learn. I fucking know everything. And then
we've met a few of those.
Yeah. Like, you're not growing or doing anything. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, I fucking know everything. I'm like, well, I'm at the part too where I'm like, maybe I'm not going anywhere, but I'm learning along the way.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the journey, And
it's
so dumb, but it's true.
It is. But it keeps your brain sharp too. And I think, kind of touching back on the like, we both don't have that like 16-year-old starry-eyed view anymore, but that takes so much stress away from the process because it's truly for fun now.
Yeah.
And that makes it where the creative process, no matter what it turns out to be, it's about, like, again, living in cliches, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah. And it's like, even just like, because we learned it from bands or whatever, the bands that don't make it or whatever, but it's still playing music. Because a lot of people we know, just and listeners, viewers, and stuff like that would know. It's like, oh, their friends' bands quit, or their band, they quit doing that, or whatever. But if they're listening to a guitar podcast, they're probably into music still.
Yeah.
So it's like you're probably not playing in a band, but you're still having fun and playing music. There's some people who just completely stop.
I did for a while.
Yeah.
I had my like heart broken by the music industry for sure. And I mean, when I was in Communist Katy, which was like around 12 to 14-ish or 2000 maybe 9-ish, I can't remember anymore, but
we went on that tour 7 years ago. I got it popped up on my Facebook.
Oh my gosh, man.
7 years.
It's crazy how fast it goes. But at the end of it, I had been grinding and pushing so hard because we did everything ourselves. We recorded our own album in a garage, mixed it ourselves, made the CDs ourselves, made the jackets for the CDs ourselves, did a Kickstarter ourselves, booked our own tours ourselves, like everything.
Fixed the van.
Yeah, we work on the van ourselves. We had it where the fuel pump went out. And
in New Mexico.
Yeah, and we changed it in an O'Reilly's parking lot. We literally went in the O'Reilly's, they're like, yeah, the parts delivery for that fuel pump will come around this time, and Ryan and I are ripping the tank out, and then everybody else is wearing sun hats and laying on a towel on an asphalt parking lot, and people are looking at us like crazy bums.
There was no sun, and it's just like in June in New Mexico. It's like we were melting to the pavement.
Yeah,
that was fun. It was still a fun experience.
And then in between all that, we're like laying 3 people down, and Ryan's ollieing them.
I remember that one.
It's like that's what we were doing, and that's what I look back at with like a fond retrospect compared to playing the shows. I barely remember the shows. The most fun part for me was everything getting to the shows.
Yeah.
Because it was such a wild adventure. You're pulling into a venue you've never been in. It's some weird town.
Kind of like in a van with people you don't even really know.
Yeah. And you're pulling into a venue / laundromat. And it's like, you see these spots where it's like, this makes no sense. And that's definitely not up to code. And I'm going to get shocked by the microphone. Yeah. But you're having a blast.
Yeah. No, that is fun. But just like, it's like maybe not doing it in the same aspect, but still like recording music, still like talking about it, still like even just like building a studio so that you can record either yourselves or other people.
Yeah,
I assume that's what you want to do. It's like you want to you're learning recording so you can record other bands too.
Well, one of the big the recording the bands will come later, but one thing that I love, and I think we've talked about this before, how we differ on this. I love the meticulousness of recording a drum set.
Yeah.
And because it takes a long time and a lot of experience to be able to know how to properly mic for phase and acoustic cancellation.
Yeah.
And I'm creating a space so that I can sit at a drum set, drive out to the middle of nowhere where I'm not going to bother people by literally sitting there and going, dunk, move the mic, dunk, move the mic. Because I would drive my neighbors absolutely mad doing that.
Yeah. Even just, we recorded the drums for Just In Case, at Brian's, and even from the last time we recorded, we added more mics and started like playing with things a little bit more. Because I think we had the idea, initially, and a lot of people think like, drums recorded in a garage, it's going to sound like a home, like a demo. I'm like, possibly. And then when we heard the actual like, final product, I'm like, wow, that sounds great. It's like, fuck it, let's keep doing that. And then it's like, do it again, but add some more mics, because it's like, we didn't do an under snare. We added that. I'm like, that adds a lot. I'm like, oh, a little sub kick in front of it. Like, that adds a lot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, that's awesome. So...
and so once I finally dial in those drum tones, because there's not going to be a lot of space, and I have a Tama Cocktail Jam Mini, which is like a tiny... It like folds into itself like a Russian nesting doll, and that set I want to learn like the back of my hand, so that when I'm ready to record a band in there, it's just ready to go. And I'm going to need to experiment with how am I going to record guitar when I'm not going to have enough electricity to power a guitar amp. How am I going to have everybody have headphones? Will everybody use amp sims? And then I can, in post, send that out with a reamp box to a real amp to get the tones that I'm looking for.
Recording the DIs and stuff.
But then, like, there's going to be bands, obviously, where people are going to be switching between pedals. How do I make it where they can perform exactly as they would without it being cumbersome and stopping their creative process? So there's so much right now that I have no idea how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you're going to have to learn it along the way.
Yeah.
That's like we've talked about, or Brian and I talked about recording, bands maybe. It's like, oh, this is sounding great. I think we're pumped up on how the Just In Case stuff is coming out. It's like, we could do this for bands.
Yeah.
I'm like, now we have to like learn how to do it like efficiently. And it's like,
Yeah.
we might not be under the same situation of like, oh, like I'm starting to know how Brian like plays, so I can kind of set the levels and how we're, and then it's with his mic, so he knows how to place them, and it's like on his drum set. But what if it was somebody else's? And then like I've seen like studio tours on YouTube and stuff like that where they're like, it's a house drum kit, just use it. It's a really nice like fucking like custom Gretsch, but it's like somebody still might want to like, I want to use my Pacific, or like I want to use my Pearl like $400, which is good on them. They should probably most of the time use the gear that they like and know. But at a certain point too, I've heard studios where they're like, oh, I play like I said, like the Line 6 Spider. It's like, yeah, don't fucking play that. Play a Kemper or something that we have in studio. And some people might be like, that's not my sound. I'm like, Line 6 Spider should be nobody's sound.
Yeah, and that's a fine balance between where the recording engineer is becoming a producer, and a recording engineer has to be really careful about overstepping that bound and saying like, oh, your amp sucks and you need to use this, because you can really offend somebody if like that's their favorite amp. Like if somebody's Line 6 Spider 2 whatever is their favorite amp, you don't want to insult them, even though to you and me that would not be the amp we would want to play through.
And even just like as far as guitars too, I've heard people even doing that. I had a friend who they paid for a demo, and it was like an EP or whatever demo kind of thing, and it came out pretty good. Actually, the guitars sounded good and drums were really good, but the bass was like weird, and it my friend was like, he had fucking just your standard pop punk setup. It was like Fender Mexican P bass with the Seymour Duncan quarter pound, the hot, like the Mark Hoppus pickups. That's great sound. Why don't you fucking use that? And the guy was like, no, don't use that. He had to use some like almost like Warwick kind of bass, which was like active. And he only went DI. He didn't want to mic any amps, and he was very adamant about that. It's like, so it ended up, the bass sounded super weird. It kind of had that clicky kind of corn sound.
And I can understand what the engineer was going for that, because active basses have a preamp in them, and it gives such a clean sound, and it gets nice and hot into the board. But if that's not the sound you're going for, like, I can understand that, because a passive pickup doesn't really sound super great sometimes when you go DI, but then like you said, that wasn't the sound they were going for,
and it didn't really stand out as much as like bass is cool. It's an instrument that I'm playing in a band. Like it won't break a song, but it could really make a song better.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like nobody really but him and myself were like, well, if you used your bass, it would have been better for you, but.
Yeah, and it's amazing how one little tiny difference like that, it won't really make or break. It can, like you said, but all those ingredients need to be right. That's why when there's albums that I absolutely love, it's like there's so many factors that go into that. The recording equipment of the time, the era of the music, the amps you were playing in, the room you were playing in. Like one of my favorite albums is the original American Football album, and like I could like some of the songs aren't like the most interesting to me, but the tones of them, like I could listen to that album. When I first heard that album, there was no other music on the planet for like 3 months. Yeah. Like I knew that, and I got the special edition one where it has all the like demo tracks at the end, and like I could listen to that album 1,000 times over, because just from a like just how it sounds, the tone and everything, I love it. Same as it's a weird parallel, but Dua Lipa's "Don't Stop Now."
Okay.
That song would sound good on a potato with a piezo speaker. Like it is so well mixed. And when you look at Wikipedia and you see how many hands it went through and how many people mixed this part, changed this part, she was sent something like 40 different versions of the song to pick from. Yeah, and it's like you just see like this like highest end of production compared to like recording in a bedroom, and both can create this unbelievable recording. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it almost. It's just there is a science and there's not a science. Sometimes it's the art and the magic. Sometimes you throw spaghetti at the wall and you get lucky. Sometimes there's a gazillion dollars behind it and you'll throw money at it until it sounds good.
Yeah, that shit is like crazy. It's like a lot of bands even just going into a studio and they write in the studio. That's one thing I don't
Yeah,
get. It's
Blink
like
182 did that.
Yeah, it's like that's what. Yeah, the Untitled one, or is it Untitled? That's what it is, not self-titled. Alex Copperzone, it gets me every time. But yeah, that one, it's like it shows the documentary. I remember watching it on MTV, and it was like back when that was coming out. It's like they were just basically, oh yeah, this will be like just maybe like a month or so, a couple weeks. You guys should have the album done. It's like, cool. Ended up being just dragged out because they were just like, we don't know what we want to do, and it ended up being one of my favorite Blink albums.
Yeah, it's a great album.
And it sounds awesome. It sounds fucking incredible, and the songs are great.
Yeah,
and even their hits are still fun.
Yeah, same as like the "Wasting Light" by the Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
That like freaking recorded in Dave Grohl's bedroom.
Yeah.
and it's so funny. There's that one part in the documentary where he's like doing a take and he's like almost got his, and his daughter walks up and starts hitting the guitar. She's like, it's time to play on the trampoline. And it's like, that's part of the album. That's part of the experience.
The process and everything too.
Yeah, and they recorded it all to tape and like.
I remember that one being, I'm like, that's cool. And I'm also like, is there really much of a difference?
Yeah.
I
think about that. And, I think with the way that recording equipment has progressed, you can buy any run-of-the-mill interface these days and you're probably going to get a pretty decent sound. But I think in the era of tape, it was a different kind of band. You had to get the take there.
Yeah.
And that I want to apply to how I'm going to record.
Mm-hmm.
I want to record it as if punch and here you go. No editing, no correction, no auto-tune.
You're kind of using your DAW like you would a 4-track or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's where the magic is a singer needs to be dynamic and come in and out of it. And it's not going to sound perfect. And
I say that most of my takes, especially if I'm doing guitar or bass, I try and get the longest run, if not the whole song.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one, just in case one, I had to chop the shit out of it. You look like it, if you look at my bass track, I'm like, I gave it to Brian. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had to punch in. I'm like, it looks like it went through a paper shredder.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Like, it sounds good. He's like, yeah. I mean, he's like, you'd see. He's like, I had some drum edits like that too. So
yeah.
So I give him the track, and he looks at the bass like, oh, I did that on some drum tracks. But we're both I think a lot of people are in that mindset. Like, don't punch in as much as possible.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to.
I do that for in the van tour video, how I showed you, I'll get the ideas out with the little drum pad.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I will do many, many takes with that, where I do splice everything together and I get it absolutely perfect. And then one thing I do is I take the vocal track and I tune the piss out of it till it absolutely sounds like a synthesizer. And then I'll sing with it, play it in my headphones.
That's what I do is I use that as a guide. Sometimes I'll auto-tune the shit out of it, and I have it just on the one side, so I'm using that.
Oh, one side's an interesting way to do it.
So, because I mainly, when I record vocals, I'll have this one ear kind of off.
I do the same thing.
I have just the auto-tuned fake as fuck track on one side, so I'm singing to that, so I can still hear myself when I'm in the mix and stuff like that. But that's a good cheating way to go. It's not even a cheat, really. That's I say it's a cheat because it's a Brian cheat that I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not. You do it too.
Yeah, and then you have that perfect thing so that you can play along to it. And if you do have a couple mess ups in that final all-in-one take, you still at least have an idea of how it's supposed to sound. Because how annoying would it be to do 100 takes of I need to just get it in one go, and then you listen to the song back and you're like, I don't like the order of the song.
Or I messed up the vocal part. It's like I'm not hitting that note, and you're like, shit, I was singing in the wrong key.
Yeah, and now you have to do the whole thing again. So that's what's so nice about being able to do MIDI drums.
Yeah, punch it in and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you can lay everything. It's like the rough drafting, but you're Legoing it together almost. And then once you have all the Legos ready, now you can carve what you're making from wood in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're just riffing here, but I wanted to mention mine what's new. So.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. This past week, I splurged and got a pedal, a bass pedal, one that I've been talking about for probably a good year and a half, 2 years maybe.
Oh wow, man, you have been freaking mouth-watering for a while.
Well, it's just something that I'm like, I haven't needed it, and I guess I kind of still don't. So basically, I've been playing Kyle's bass pedals since and he has moved to Texas, and I kept the board. still because
Just to watch it for
because I'm
him.
like I'm using that, and he's fine with it. He's like I don't need it, but he's starting to record more, and it's like he could actually use his pedals.
So now's the time
Well,
to kind of.
and he's still not like forcing my hand or anything to be like turn those fucker back, and I'm like.
But at the same point, you don't want to hold on to him.
I should fucking get my own stuff. So
yeah.
I been using his bass Sans amp.
Yeah.
So the Tech 21, which is a great. That could be your only bass pedal.
Yeah, that's been like a standard for a long time.
For a good reason, because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, and if it works, it works. It's like a SM57.
Yeah.
Like so versatile. Use it. It's been good for years.
And you don't really need it, but having a little like compressor before it, and then that's just goes DI to front of the house, DI for recording. And so for Kyle, it's like that would be great for him to have to record. And then so I'm like, he should get it back.
That's interesting that you do you always track in with compression?
Yes. So on my bass, yes.
Interesting. I am of the philosophy of I'd rather handle it in post. Just because I don't know what will work.
I think because I have a bass preset in my Fractal that has gate, compression, drive, amp sim, and cab IR, and that I just click on that.
Yeah, click and go.
Because I know what it sounds like, and I'm like, I like that sound.
Yeah.
And then so playing live, been using a pedal board and an amp just for stage volume, and so the pedal board was compressor, a drive, Sans amp, front of house. That's it. I guess
and that's
a tuner too. So
you don't need much more than that.
No, and toying with the idea of like, adding more bass pedals, chorus, reverb. No, not for punk. It's not gonna. It's totally not gonna fit. So
and also in a club, you want to have the front of house handling the reverb because you don't know how that's gonna work in their environment.
Yeah, for punk and reverb and stuff like that, I know having effects is not really gonna do much. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, get Kyle his Sans amp and his compressor back. And I'll eventually get a compressor for bass. I'm just going to get the little MXR one.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah.
Ryan had the MXR one with like the gain reduction on it.
They made a new one that it's even smaller. It has like less features, but it's like it has a clean blend. Like,
yeah,
good enough for
same
me.
thing.
Yeah. And then so as far as like replacing the Sans amp, I could have got another one, but I decided to fucking go buck wild with what I wanted. I got the Darkglass B7K Ultra version 2. So that one has the XLR out, that has a cab sim IR that you can load into it. It has the headphones, it has aux in, all this other shit. And I'm like, just fucking go, got it. And it is really cool. I mean, the way it comes in, it's like, this is a fucking awesome, like, built pedal. It's like a lot of, like, I guess they do that. People say, like, the presentation of it is, like, very similar to, like, how Apple products come in. And you come in, like, even just the packaging, like, this is really nice. No, I kind of don't even want to get my fingerprints on it, but fuck it, I did.
Yeah,
so
I know what you mean.
Like, and then it comes with software that you can load the IRs into it. And to me, I was like, oh, cool. I like the ML Sound Lab ones, so I just loaded one of those on it. And I was like, oh, let me test it out. Still, my basses are in the shop, both of them. So I plugged a guitar into it.
Just to see.
It doesn't do the same thing, but it still sounds cool. Like I have one of my guitars dropped C, and so I'm just playing that one lowest note.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is similar, right? It's not. So I'm still like, I have it in my possession, but I don't have the basses. So I'm kind of like, yes.
I did the same thing.
I can't do anything. I can't play the goddamn thing.
I did the same thing where I didn't have a bass, and I was like experimenting with full band recordings, and it just needed low end, so I would record one string on my guitar and then drop it an octave in post. It sounded so bad, but I was like, well, it's got a little more in it, so,
yeah, so
it'll work.
I still haven't given it a full go yet, but I'll hopefully next week I'll have my basses back and I'll actually really get to play it. And I like my bass to be dirty and really like not fuzz, but like that metal kind of thing, and that's what the B7K can really do.
Well,
it's just like really like almost grindy kind of.
Well, it's so cool that you can drop IRs into it because it's like you can get a new pedal for free all the time. Like that's so cool. And with the XLR out, if you have an interface that has instrument inputs, well, now you can have another one because you can use it. That's so versatile, both for live performance and recording. That's really neat.
So I'm assuming it's going to sound awesome. We'll have to check in next time. But yeah, that's what I got going on. And then I told Kyle, I'm like, oh yeah, gonna hold on to the SansAmp for maybe a couple more weeks because I want to do a video on it to hey, this is the SansAmp
A/B comparison.
Exactly. Like I want to dial in my favorite sound for the Darkglass and my favorite sound for the SansAmp because the SansAmp, it'll get that kind of like Ampeg-y sound where it's like almost like a little bit of breakup. But if you really want to push it, you'd have to put like a drive pedal.
Kind of has that nosiness to it,
and it's awesome. It sounds that and a P bass. That's all you ever fucking need for like most rock and pop punk.
Yeah.
And then, but like the Darkglass is something a little different. It has a lot more options on it as far as like you look at the EQ, you can get like if you're not focused, you're like Jesus Christ, there's 10 knobs on this goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the SansAmp has maybe like 6 knobs or whatever.
Well, I remember the first time I saw an SVT Pro. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these knobs and everything.
And
like you got
10 band.
Yeah, the 10 band, and you have the other bands, and high and not high and ultra or whatever it is.
Then the SVT4 has 2 power amps. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, who needs all that?
That's why I love my little Champ 12, because it's just like, there's a distortion channel, there's a clean channel, and you've got like low, mid, high.
Yeah.
Or no, it doesn't even have mid,
or is it just a tone knob?
No, it has low, and then it has a push-pull for the high.
Gotcha. There's, what is it? The company Satellite. They're based out of San Diego. I like their amps. One of these days, I'd like to actually play one in, like, my own setting.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of do the thing he's like, what's on a guitar? Volume and tone. What's on this amp? Volume and tone. It's like, that's it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm like, that's so simple. I'm like, that could be restrictive, right?
Yeah, but also it's nice when you have something restrictive because that forces your creativity. You can't just depend on twisting knobs and hoping that it creates something better. You literally have to figure out how to do it. I mean, think about Gibson. Or I mean, not Gibson, Les Paul creating reverb by putting a mic at the end of a hallway. Yeah. Like, that was like unheard of, and like because he had a little dinky 4-track, like that's what you could do, and that created a sound that like people still use that, like hall reverb, or even like I think I saw like on Instagram. It was like, I'm not a big fan of his videos. I think it just came on Explore. Rob Scallon. He's like a guitar content creator. He's not really like doesn't really do demos, but he was like showing like him on Instagram. He's like, oh, I'm playing probably one of the biggest reverb pedals ever. He's in like an empty parking lot or parking structure, and he's like plays his guitar, and it sounded awesome. He's playing this ambient kind of thing, and it just the empty parking structure. They had he was in some church, I can't remember, and they had this big old organ, and it turns out that it can take MIDI. So they hooked it up to the computer. It took forever to figure it out. They had to call the people who installed it, and they're playing like dan 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 in like in this big old freaking church, and it's like no one would ever play that. And they took a bunch of metal bands where he was making a point that a lot of metal music has classical music influence, and he's like, what would it sound like if we played this hard ass metal song on the organ transposed to MIDI, and it sounds like kind of like but it's all in minor chord, and so it sounds like gothic music, but it's literally like this shredder metal. Yeah, so
play it
cool.
On an organ. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, so that was kind of it for what's do's and stuff like that. I feel like we've just been going off. We should just keep going. But
yeah, I agree.
You had mentioned, I think we were messaging back and forth about like so you're doing these YouTube videos and stuff like that, but you wanted to like kind of take a break from it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like were you like kind of just getting burnt out? Or?
No, so you know what? I have ADHD and short-term memory loss, so I can't pay attention, and even when I do, I forget. So one thing about ADHD is if I'm told to focus on something, I can't. It'll never happen. Yeah. But if there's something I'm passionately into, I can get tunnel vision. And I start getting so
blinders and you're focused. Yeah.
And so what happened is when I bought this Grumman Olson van, I thought I was going to buy it, do like a brake job, maybe like basic maintenance stuff, and then convert it and get on the road. I've pulled the engine. I've rebuilt the engine. I've rebuilt the transmission.
Yeah, I've seen the videos. It's a lot of fucking work.
It is. And you know, one thing is I know that I have to have this balance between my balance with my partner and my balance with the van. And I was spending so much time with the van, and it was taking so much of even all my thinking that I was just not present in my relationship with my partner, and I realized that I really have to find that balance, and I've started going to therapy for that.
Yeah.
Because I know that I can get sucked into it, and I've been in this exact situation with an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And once you see something looping around
you kind of
again,
see the signs, and you're like learned enough to know the signs and what to change, or something does need to change.
Exactly. And she was, or they were really, my partner is non-binary. And so they expressed to me that, hey, like, I don't feel like you're engaged in the relationship right now, but I want to let you know I fully support the van and I love the idea.
Yeah.
But we need to figure out how to make this work better. And, you know, it's kind of nice to step back from it, and I haven't really thought about it all that much. And I realized how much of it was stressing me out because I had this goal that I had made up that I hadn't expressed to anybody, that it's got to get done in September. And
again, who made the rules?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like, why am I setting this terrible goal for myself when, like, I already have a van?
Beating yourself up about it.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And like pushing myself so hard where I thought the solution to having more time with my partner was finishing the van quicker. That's not it. They don't care if I finish it as quick as possible. It's just about having that balance. And now I'm like, hell, let's make it go to next year. Who cares?
You could push it back, and like striking that balance of like, you know, you don't want to be resentful of the project either.
Yeah.
Because it's already more than what you bargained for.
Yeah, and I can tell you that, like, I would definitely go to jail if it was a person for the things I've said to it. Like, I have sworn like a sailor on meth. Like, I hate that thing sometimes.
The outtakes are just bang, bang, smack.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see those on YouTube.
Yeah, like, you'll hear the, like, nice, cheery, like, and here you can see I'm soldering this wire. And really off camera, I'm like, you fucking piece of shit, just fucking work. Like, I'm so angry, and I'm like, this is not joy. This is not fun.
This does not bring me joy.
No.
Yeah, it's like, but it's also like you can stress yourself out about a lot of things, especially like even like a project like that, even projects like, you know, a band or creating music or whatever. It's like if you are so focused on the end, and if it doesn't get there in the time that you want, and you're the only one that is like setting that goal.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing too. I've come to realize, I'm like, you can really like be pissed off at the project. I think we're working on the, you know, like even just right now, just in case, I think we had like Brian set the goal for July release, probably looking more like August. And it's like, nobody's like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Where's the album?
You signed this contract. You have to be by this deadline.
And then we're like, we're like getting, you know, like thinking, oh man, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. Da, da, da. I'm like, why? It's that we're the ones recording it and mixing it and putting it out. It's like, yeah, there's no fucking like, why did we have that deadline? And now we're like, we're not gonna get upset about it. Like, don't hurry it up just to make it shitty and get it done by that time. Because I'm like, we're the ones doing it, especially like, you know, from recording yourself. It's like, you're the one in control of it.
100%.
Like, you don't have to be like the engineer's like, time is money, guys.
Yeah, you're spending like, $150 an hour.
Thank you for you know, paying, you know, my fucking, you know, car insurance.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck. It's like, oh yeah, you're booked now you had to book another 4 hours or the next day. I'm like, hey, you don't have that. And even like, you know, mixing revisions and stuff like that. It's like, we're on our own time. So it's like, we're thinking about it. I'm like, wait, why did we set that? And why are we upset if we don't?
Why are we stressing ourselves out for an intangible goal that nobody like is expecting of us? Yeah,
and then it's like, you know, if you have, but it is good to have goals because you could just 100%. Be aimless or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like I kind of have set goals for even just, you know, podcasts and stuff like that. I know you for like YouTube and like what you're doing. You had the goal of doing 100 subscribers, and I'm like, cool, we got that as well. I think last year, or maybe it was this year, I don't remember, but when we got it, I was stoked too, because we could just change it to YouTube, the Tone Jerks.
Yeah, and like, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, I can...
oh, subscribe to my YouTube channel. AC764 W
asterisk forward slash. Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't look good. Whereas you can just say, you know, the Tone Jerks. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then I'm like thinking, like, okay, maybe the next goal should be, you know, 300 subscribers, or it's like da-da-da. And I have a buddy, RJ, he's doing his, you know, he's kind of like, he's taking breaks and as he's going to his YouTube channel. He does music mainly, and like guitar demos and songs and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, I don't want to get burnt out. I'm like, then just hold off. And
Yeah.
he's like, and he's working kid. He's doing all.
Oh my gosh, it's so
it's
much.
Like, no shit. I'm like, dude, you're living your life. Like, there's nobody fucking. And then he's got a podcast. I'm like, dude, get it done when you can, but still have the goal in mind. He's like, I want to get to 500. I'm like, good.
Wonderful.
Set it to maybe like I would like to have it done by the end of the year. But if you don't get it, don't be like, well, burn the channel down. Fuck.
Or
you're like, it's like, hey.
You can also, I think it's a lot of people link a goal to time, and you don't have to. You can just have the goal of I want 500 subscribers, but you don't have to link it to by this time.
Yeah.
Just figure it out and work on it. And I think one thing that I've fallen into very recently and am still working on is creativity. Like, speaking in cliches again, creativity is not a faucet. And one thing that, like, finally I'm really okay with is I haven't recorded a song in like 6 months. And that's okay, because right now I'm having fun with the videos and all that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to record ever again. It means right now I don't have anything to write about. I'm not sad. I'm not overly happy. I don't have any emotion that's pushing so hard that I need to get something out. And it'll come. I mean, we live in the world and there's reality. Sadness is a-coming, and you'll have some inspiration. And that's where, for me personally, when I'm in like just a brooding sadness, that's when like I have just songs that like I listen back to my sad stuff and I go, man, I can feel it. But if I write something now, it's just going to sound like a worse version of Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, kind of like you said, creativity, like, and whatever you do, you don't even really need something tangible or even something done to like say like, oh, I was doing something. Like I was thinking like, oh, I haven't written anything in, I can't remember, maybe like a whole song I haven't finished in like over a year for sure.
Yeah.
And then, eventually I want to start a new project where I play guitar, and I'm like, I have these ideas, all ideas, and none of them are done or like whatever. So I'm like, I should just fucking focus on that. But maybe like if I just start playing, something else will come to me. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm like kind of like almost dumb, like not pissed, but I'm like, I don't even have any like ideas. Like this sucks. I'm like, for the next project, but I'm like, I don't have to start that next project right now. It's like it could come out in 2 years. It could do whatever. But then again, you could also be complacent and be like, oh yeah, it'll come out like eventually. But I still want to, so kind of riding that line of having a goal, but not keep beating yourself up about it.
Yeah. And finding musical inspiration, one thing that I've learned, which I had like this 16-year-old attitude and like it's ego, obviously, of like, I'm not going to do covers, I'm no hack, like, and like, like there's so many YouTube tutorial videos and people who are very successful. They're like, the most important thing you can do is play covers because it's something you didn't write outside of your own style. Like, I'm trying to give myself that humility of like, when I get into the van that I've built and I start recording stuff, my idea is the van was made in 1973. I'm going to play a 12-track album of what song was the most popular in that month of 1973 as kind of like a tip of the hat to
see if you can do it.
Yeah, and it's like these songs where some of them are like these really like almost like what do you call it? Conway Twitty-esque, like, hello, darling, like that kind of, and I'm like, I love that song, but like that ain't anything I've ever written. And then some of them are like that, like disco-y song, and I'm like, I have no idea how to play that, but that's gonna challenge me.
Yeah, we're gonna learn and figure it out.
Yeah,
no, that's awesome. It's like, I think it's easy to make like taking a break or whatever like a negative thing, or it's like, oh, taking a break, that means you're never going back to it. I'm like, possibly.
I mean, you can make that self-fulfilling prophecy if you want to.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. That's definitely one thing I think I need to tell myself. It's like having, always being like having something tangible as far as like, create, like your songs. I'm like, I'm the same way. I'm like, I put in effort to finish or like put work into my like home studio recording and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I haven't recorded a song yet for me. But then I was like, oh, wait, no, I'm recording an album for Just In Case. I'm like,
oh,
yeah. And I'm like, no, I am creating.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, oh, yeah. It's like, again, buddy, RJ is like, oh, yeah, It's like, we'll kind of like build each other up. I'm like, this weekend I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done. And then we like follow up. And it's like, yeah, I didn't do that. But it's not always bad. It's like, oh, yeah, how's it going? I'm like, oh, yeah, my days off. I had 3 days off this week. And I'm like, I I guess, recorded bass and vocals for Just In Case. I'm like, so
Yeah.
an album that's going to be released in the band that I play in is going to have...
and that's completely tangible. Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. In my head, but I'm like, I didn't finish a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I didn't, write my own song. And I'm like, wait, no, I am creating. It's just maybe I'm not focused on it and like stepping back and like realizing like, wait, no, I am doing shit.
Yeah.
And even if you're like, say even people at home are starting, bands or starting recordings on their own, it's like, oh, I didn't get anything done. I'm like, yeah, but you played.
Yeah.
And you learn, like maybe you got better. Even just like having that connection with your instrument is like a lot too.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it, like I'm here visiting my sister, and I'm like, it'll be like over a week, maybe a week and a half since I even like picked up an instrument. By the time I get back, and I'm like, damn, that'll make me, I don't know, maybe it'll give me that hunger for playing when I get back.
Yeah,
like,
and I think it's, my partner has a very close friend named Andy, and she had this bit of advice where if you're repressing your emotions, it's like a balloon growing inside you. And if you don't open it up and let a little bit of pressure off, it's just going to keep growing up in you until it pops. And I think that stress of, oh, is the album going to get done? It's okay. You got time.
Yeah.
Oh, but is it going to? It's all right. You just got to. Yeah. And like, you got to find stuff also outside of music to be able to get your head away from it sometimes. That's been building the van for me.
Yeah.
That's a totally different area of my brain. Technical, wiring, electrical theory, combustion engine, totally different from chords and all that stuff. Like, there are probably parallels, but now that I've pulled so far away from it, when I come back to music, I'm going to be so fresh and so blank that I'll have that drive to do something.
Yeah.
What do these drums sound like in my van? I got no idea.
I would say also too, it's like, I think maybe I've had that where I'm like, oh, I'm not like playing. Okay, so this is dumb. So, but I'm gonna put it out there. So,
I love it. That's a great way to start.
Yeah. So, saw my buddy Johnny Ray, Johnny Two Guns, and he let me borrow like a big old tote full of pedals, like some old shit, some fucking like a lot of like stuff from the 90s, even stuff that's even older from like old Mutron shit. I'm like,
or old like MXL phasers and stuff like that.
Yeah, like a bunch of like, and he's like, oh, try it out. Just it's like. It's really, he's like, it's just sitting in a tote in my garage. I'm like, oh, you should try it out. And da-da-da. He's like, oh, and take pictures of it too. It's like, that'd be good for Instagram or whatever. And so I had the big tote of it. And one night, like evening, I got off work. I could have recorded, could have played, could have probably went to the gym, which would have been nice. But I went home, set up my camera and lights, and I was taking photos of these pedals. And I'm like, how does that pedal sound? I don't know. I haven't plugged it in yet.
Yeah.
But I took pictures of it.
And that's something.
Because I'm looking about like my camera and just like learning about the lenses and stuff like that. And then, like I always like take photos and edit them or whatever. And then like my buddy Eric, he's a photographer and he does YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
He's really, like his videos look awesome. And his photos and editing, I basically just ask him dumb questions. I'm like, check out this one. He's like, oh, that's good. But it's a little too dark. Fuck! And this one I'm like having in the back of my head, it's too dark. So I'm like playing with just like the like exposure, making it lighter, but I don't want it to overexpose. And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, might as well just really lean into it and just like, okay, like knowing the cameras and how to what's sharper and whatever, and then based on how quick the shutter is, I'm like, dude, it is fucking fun. But I spent hours doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm learning also editing too. And then I'm like, I spent hours doing that, and I didn't even play the fucking pedals.
Yeah.
I didn't even play music at all. I took pictures of fucking boxes, and I had a blast.
You jogged my memory when you said there was this briefcase of like old pedals and all that. Back when I was like really obsessed with figuring out like what pedal is going to sound good for the band, where I just had like this young passion that was just on fire, and I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours. There was this guy that I found on Craigslist who he had just listed a pedal, and it was like this old Boss GE10, which like plugs into 110, and it's like this old school graphic equalizer, like back before it was the little mini one that runs on 9-volt. It literally had
to plug in.
It had the power supply built into it. It was so weird, but this guy was an obsessive compulsive hoarder, and he lived in a warehouse in San Jose, and when you went in, there were stacks of every pedal you could ever imagine thrown to the side. Like, he had like every revision of every single thing, and like all the way back to the 60s. And you would go in there and he would sell them to you for like $50. He would give you the 60s price. It was unbelievable. And so I had access to like the original MXL Phase 90, that Boss GE10. I had all these.
That's pretty cool. It could also be his passion is collecting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that are collecting. I'm like, I don't think I collect things because I'm like, I'm not, I have pedals, I have guitars and stuff like that, but I feel like I own them to use them. But there's some people who collect things because that's what they
just
like.
To collect them. Yeah.
They like it.
But it didn't look like a collector's space because everything was thrown so haphazardly, like to the side. Like, I mean, you had like pedals now that are like unobtainium that people would pay 10 grand for. And he had them like the sharp edges of them scratching the frickin' enamel paint off each other because they're all thrown in a corner. And it's like, don't worry.
Maybe that is a little different.
That's just a piece of junk Nosferatu.
There'd be the collector's aspect where you'd have them on like a shelf and displayed. There's a difference. If it's like you watch the Josh Scott videos, that guy loves pedals and he has them all displayed. And he'll be in groups trying to buy them too.
Yeah,
so you can tell like that guy. No shit, he just has a pedal company, right? He likes pedals. Oh, good one, Brian.
Yeah.
This just in. But yeah, I mean, that guy is displaying them. Could also be for his YouTube set or whatever. But you can tell he's got his fucking wall full of pedals and gear and shit like that. But maybe this guy he's like, I have to have my stuff. I like.
Yeah.
And there's so many different ways to be. To
me,
I'm like,
and not that I'm knocking on his way of life or anything at all.
But it is kind of cool that maybe he is like, I got it now. It's mine. It's cool. And maybe it's like, I don't care. It's like, really, these things are meant to be stepped on. And stomp boxes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there is somewhat of that, like, we lift up some of these things so high and put them on a pedestal and charge billions of dollars for them, and then they never get used.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just looking, and it was like, wasn't the whole idea to get the sound nobody else can get out of them?
It wasn't to use them.
Yeah.
And it's like the idea of like
he
how
did
people
use them though. Like he had like, because it was literally what used to be like a front office then warehouse building.
Yeah.
And the front office he turned into his bedroom, and he was surrounded by 16 Marshall amps. Like, he had to crawl over his Marshalls to get into his bed, and I was like, man, you are living every 16-year-old want to be in a band's dream right now.
Yeah, and that's a cool way to be, I guess. I mean, it's almost the exact opposite of how you're living.
Excess versus minimalism.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, I maybe striking it
somewhere in the middle,
maybe closer to the minimalism side is what most people should be doing. It's like, instead of a bedroom full of Marshalls, you can have one or two.
Yeah, exactly.
Even, like...
Though I would like a bedroom for a Marshalls. Like, that would be very nice to have. I wouldn't mind it.
Have your, like, a bunk bed, but have it, like, the Marshall cabs
made out
be
of
the
412s.
And then you have your... I've seen, I think where it's like people will, like, turn, like, gear into, like, furniture.
Yeah.
Or like they're like, oh, here I have my desk, instead of like how you would see like people have like the like IKEA like drawers, and they have like a plank of wood. They would have like two half stacks.
Yeah.
And then they have like wood, and like that's my desk is like a fucking Marshall.
I think you posted a picture of like one of those cheapo 90s solid state Marshall combo amps that somebody turned into a computer case.
Yeah, that was really cool. I saw it on Reddit, and I'm like, that's a cool idea.
Yeah,
I'm
it's neat.
Yeah, it's like a computer case. I'm like, okay, now you can have it like, in case you don't know, I play Marshall.
Yeah.
But I also play these fucking noobs. Fucking computer. Oh, fuck. But, damn. Well, I think we're coming towards the end here. So, yeah, we kind of just, that was easy.
Man, that flew by.
Exactly.
Like, it feels like we just started.
Yeah. So, but let's get the plugs. Aaron, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you. This has been an absolute blast.
Can people check you out?
/AARONRECINE on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and especially YouTube.
Yeah. So taking a little bit of break on the van videos, but they're coming. You just posted one yesterday. So it's like, okay, maybe not like every week, but stay subscribed and you'll get them.
Yeah.
And so just the progress of it is actually a lot of fun.
I might transition it a little bit where now, like, I'm realizing from doing this, I have so much content out of this van already that I've built.
Yeah.
Why am I not saying, like, 10 things to know about van life?
Yeah.
10 worst things. Like, here's what it's like. And I also was going to start a thing called Campground Review. Now's the time to reignite the relationship with my partner, go on camping trips. Yeah. Let's shoot new content and like totally different.
Actually use the stuff that you have. You're like, wait, I already fucking did the work.
Yeah.
Might as well actually
Life is more than just working. I have to remember that.
Yeah. And if you're like, oh, you could still get some videos out and it could be a different part on the channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I dig it. So check him out on YouTube. And Kyle wasn't on this episode. I guess I always forget to say that. Kyle, he's on the Patreon this week, but he's going to join us, and we're going to do the Patreon read. But before we do that, if you like what you hear, you can follow along on social media. We have a Facebook group linked in the description. We have an Instagram linked in the description at the Tone Jerks, and then we're also on YouTube. So subscribe and follow us on all those. And then if you really like the show, you can help support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. But for $2 a month, you get an extra episode every week, and you get the whole back catalog. There's over 170, almost maybe 180 bonus episodes. So they're separate. And I think even Aaron, I think you have a bonus episode on there.
Yeah.
So, back when we were talking earlier in the year.
Yeah, that was when I was first starting to get the idea about recording in here. Yeah, I was in my mom's driveway and driving my neighbors crazy.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. And then Kyle will be joining us here. We're going to give all the Patreon people a shout out, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks for Aaron for joining on the main episode. We wanted to get Kyle in. He's phoning it in. He wanted to give us the...
Always phoning in.
Yeah.
That's... I always do.
Yeah, you know how we do it. Wanted to come in here and give us the Patreon name reads. He wanted to say thanks to all you people. So,
yeah, because you can't do it.
I know.
Do it right.
You have the list. I don't have it.
Yeah, it's like a master list.
You're the gatekeeper of the list.
It's like a lockbox, like a security box somewhere.
Yeah. Anyways, so Kyle, you got a list of names over there for all our Patreon supporters. Why don't you, give him a huge shout out, a sizable acknowledgement. Kyle, why don't you give it to my paper?
All right. We have Andrew Walsh from Andrew's Alcove, Abe Newman, Michael Newman, the Newman brothers.
Newman.
Haven't done that one in a while. Maybe they're cousins.
Are they real cousins or are they play?
They're just play cousins.
They play cousins.
Nicholas Payson, Nicholas Ogburn, Doug King, Doug Christ from 37 Effects, Joe from Like My Pedals. They are from the Masters of the Cinematic Universe, also from the Just Surprise Me podcast. Will Lehue, also a name on this list, is on the Just Surprise Me podcast.
Did we say on the podcast? I was on the past 2 weeks of Just Surprise Me.
Who cares? Jamie Davis. No, what did you guys talk about?
I don't remember really. You had to go listen to it.
Oh, great. Probably just made fun of RJ and he's not even on there.
Oh, 100%.
Just for no reason.
Fuck him.
That's a RJ Smith from Teletalk.
Fuck him. That's what he's from.
We say his name just to insult him too.
He did a video where it's like he talked a little quieter. To think some of the room reflections, and so he was like a little quieter on the mic and in the video. And he's like, "All right, guys, so I'm talking about my Telecaster," and I was like, "ASMRJ."
Oh man, he's already stolen that handle. I'm sure he does.
I'm like, that's what you should call yourself.
It's on Reddit. That's what he's doing.
Make the shirt
ASMRJ.
ASMRJ. Anyways,
we have Jamie Davis, Johnny Ray, Jason Fuzzmonger, Steve Mike from Hardly Human, Steve Ralph from 60 Cycle Hum, Colin Smith, Kevin E. Quits from Equits Guitars, Co Schneider from the Flip and Flippers podcast, Alvaro Viramontes, Brian from Nutter Guitars, or I should say Brian Nutter from Nutter Guitars, Mel Chibson of Chibson Guitars. They're probably comparable.
Yeah, I mean they're at the same level.
One's a meme lord, the other one's a wood
lord.
I don't know. Woodlord. We have Sean Arbo from Gun Street Wiring Shop. Sean Fahey. Sean Wright from Lollygagger Effects.
It's another Woodlord over there.
Yeah. Don't tell him. He might show it to you. Juan Ortiz.
Show all the different types of grains.
Yeah, well, you said different grains?
You guys said grains, but yeah.
We have Juan Ortiz from Tone Hungry Effects. Mike Oxbig. Hugh G-Rection.
Got to clear my throat for that one.
Always. Zach Hale. Eric Merrow from Elm Effects.
Yeah.
We don't have to say anything now. We can skip right over. We don't have to say that. We used to call it ELM Effects.
But I mean, it does look like it.
I know. It does. Shame on you, Eric Merrow.
It's fucking me up.
What was the middle name again? You bastard. You horrible friend. Scott Hamilton from the Effects Loop podcast. Tim Nowick from Bardic Audio Devices.
And we have the
Jonathan
giveaway with Bardic Audio.
Yeah.
That's fine. I finally got my shit together and put it out.
Jeez.
We're giving away the Bard O. So check out our Instagram. I'll put the links in the podcast description. Basically, you follow us, you follow them, repost a picture, and you can win one of Tim's pedals.
Nice.
He sent it to me about like 4 years ago. So I was like, dude,
before we started doing the podcast.
Yeah. It took me a while, but we got it going. So I'm excited for that. Looking good.
Can I get the next name now?
Yeah.
All right. Jonathan Jeruzik from 12th Hour Devices. Tyler Rhines, and I didn't change the name, from Casey's Riff Room.
It's set in stone. Sorry. I think Tyler Casey's Riffs.
It's in digital form. I can't change it.
Yeah.
It's not a PDF. It's not protected. No, it's on WordPad. Not even a Word document.
Yeah.
I'm literally using WordPad. Matthew Fenslaw. He made that bracket.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure I won.
Making a lot of racket with that bracket of the.
Yeah. Pretty sure I won that.
I don't know. When's the end date on that?
I don't know. I think it's like 4 years.
Yeah.
Just like 4 years for the pedal.
Yeah. He's making
Addison
a bracket
C.
of the. Was it the sexiest guitar?
Yes.
Guys.
I'd like to thank everyone. Yeah, I should do that when we start our next podcast. I'll just thank for the award.
Accept the award.
Yeah, accept the award that never is going to be made. Addison C. And we got a new one.
Oh,
we have a new contributor. Shit. Patron, if you will. We have Michael McVeigh. Oh. You're talking while I'm doing my thing here. Okay? I'm going to do it again with some silence. Michael McVeigh. Oh. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Just banging on shit.
What are you hitting on?
The mic box or the Zoom case. There's batteries in there just jangling around.
You're like on location, or you're like away from your house, I should say.
Yeah. I'm just sitting in a basement.
All right. Well, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. We will see you next time. We love you. Bye bye.
Bye.